your flip flop really comes from an inspiration of your Christian faith and of just your spiritual walk, basically. What is it like to be a Christian in this space? And also, I don't, what is it like to also be a Black female in this space? Like,
still like people, you still get finesse if you're not paying attention.
yeah.
But as far as like dealing with certain clients, it makes it easier. They're not on the weirdo stuff, like so it makes it easier in that regard. Since then, showing my face more and coming more out of my shell, I feel like the respect is kind of already there or continually growing. So I'm least likely to like really deal with anything weird. There's times, if anything, I'm probably my own worst enemy, because I'm like, I don't be feeling like I look like an artist or look like someone that does art. I used to. I'm trying to get that that swag back, but for the most part, my art kind of speaks for itself. So I had to put the merch on because I'm like, I feel like if I just put on something else, I would just look like anybody. So that's, if anything, more of it's in my head, really. I'm the most critical person, I think, to myself or my brand. Even to my story, I'm just in my head like, dang, I should have explained it better, but don't worry. I'm going to keep growing. Right? So it's just one of those things. And then as far as being a Christian in the community, I mean, I don't think there's much like pushback for me personally, because I feel like there's a respect there for my work, and I feel like that's the great thing. Like the gift kind of get me in the door because they appreciate the work ethic. That's why it's so important for us to operate in excellence. Because when it's not excellent, it's like, who you really representing now? You know what I'm saying? So when the representation is there and excellence there, I think the respect is also there. And then it opens the door up to conversations. Like, within my work, I have like multiple little mini comics where I include verses or even, little pieces of art with prayers on them or verses that are inspired me to make it. And there's people, Christian and non-Christian, that comment on my work. And obviously I want them to get something more from it. And a lot of them do. It's just about being, I think, obviously don't water yourself down, but be authentic, be genuine. I think artists value people being genuine because a lot of them been hurt by the church. A lot of them grew up in strict religious households, and since I'm kind of like the opposite, you know what I'm saying, I didn't really have family that was religious. It was almost like God picked me out, snatched me out, and so I could have a conversation with them without having like that preconceived notion of like, you just grew up that way, your parents taught you this. It was like when somebody chose it, now they're thinking like, I want to know why. And so it's been easy for me. I can, when it comes to work, if it's not, I would say if it's not in your best interest, don't take it. Like if it's not aligned with what you believe in, don't take it. I think a lot of things are easier when you're able to say no, or when you're able to explain what you believe in. And people are gonna be upset regardless. It is what it is. But I got a lot of friends that aren't saved and that don't, that aren't Christian, and so it's like they value being genuine over anything else.
No, I agree. I think when people are when people are genuine, like whether it be in the art space or just whatever you're doing, I think there's a different level of like respect that's given to you and access to people's lives that you don't normally get if you are not genuine. So I'm amazed by like how much like excellence you put into your work, right? And for some reason there's been like this notion that like for now it's getting better that like Christians, like even if it's like terrible work, right? Like even if like if you've seen movies that like are Christian films, some of them they're not really the best, you know what I mean? Like they it's very, very low quality, and that isn't to like undercut like the director or the actors or anything like that, but normally they're not very good and it's not very attractive, right? But you have on one hand you have people that are doing really, really like that are Christians that are doing really, really good work, and you are one of those people. Like you are like I see like the level of detail and just the amount of effort you put into your work, and just like we need more of this, right? Like, I think like for Christians, we're called to work hard, right? Like we have a free gift of grace and salvation found in Jesus, but like God also calls us to work hard, to do things for His glory, and I see that in you. I see that like you're doing that, and like and it's getting you places. Like that's amazing. Like people are respecting you on a different level because of like what you do, and I applaud. I applaud that. Like, you know what I mean?
I appreciate it. Listen, man. I mean, things weren't always excellent. I mean, or you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, give it your best, because you got to keep growing, of course. Growing in anatomy, or growing into things that I might not be too capable of, like writing. I was like, I know I'm not the best writer, and I know that I want to share my faith in a creative way, but also tell a cool story. So I'm like, let me practically go and enroll into a writing class. Things like that aid that. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously pray, but you also got to put the actions with it. And God will use that. He will honor that, meet you. So I was like,
wow, yo, that's dedication. It's like being so committed to your craft that you're willing to enroll into a class to be able to get better at your writing. That's like, I love that.
It's hard. I think it's hard. It's like I personally, it's like I learn as I go. So if I would have never started, and actually, like, once again, the fundamentals, just like how I was drawing all that Naruto stuff and all that Dragon Ball Z stuff before, I can intuitively draw and copy, but getting the fundamentals into your mind, you can't take that away. And now you have a skeleton to build off of. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. But I see. I feel like this is happening. You may already know that this is happening. Just from the amount of just people that just were excited that you were getting interviewed. Like you are like I said, like before the stream, like, yo, you are popular. You're very popular. Has